Hey, what is going on, guys? How you guys doing? So today we're going to be checking out the Resident Evil Village Collector's Edition statue of Chris Redfield. Stay tuned, guys. Okay, so first up, we have the inner box for the Chris figure. So I mean, it's a pretty plain design. It's pretty much just a black box, and we have the silhouette design of Chris on the front. Down here, Resident Evil Village, and on the top we have the logo once again. Okay, so here's the figure out of the packaging. I do quite like it. It's got a nice sculpt, nice paint job, and I quite like the new design of Chris for the new game. I think it's a good look for the character. So I've got to say, I much prefer the Leon figure that came with the Resident Evil 2 Collector's Edition. I think that figure turned out much better, but I'll give you guys a comparison on all three figures, Chris, Leon and Jill, a little bit later on in this video. Okay, so first up, let's take a look at the head sculpts. So I've got to say, overall, it's a pretty good head sculpt. I quite like the sculpting here and the paint job. It's pretty clean. I do think it's a nice representation of how he looked in the game, but I'm not sure if it's just my statue, but you may be able to notice that his left eye, is slightly cockeyed. I mean, it's very mild, you can't really make it out, but you can just see his eye is looking to the side, which is a little bit disappointing, but as I mentioned before, it's not very noticeable, so it doesn't really bother me too much. So as for the paint, I mean, the paint is pretty good. You can even see freckles sculpted on his face, which I think is pretty impressive. His eyes are painted green, and even his eyebrows and his eyelashes are pretty finely painted in there. He's got some stubble right here at the beers, which is pretty nicely sculpted. And here's the hairpiece. All the strands of hair sculpted in there. I mean, it is quite a fine sculpt. And so moving down here to the clothing, and here we have the jacket, which looks pretty good. As you can see, it's got a very nice texture. It looks very rough, as if it's made out of leather, which I think looks really good. I mean, it's a very plain design. He's pretty much just in a completely black outfit. Makes him look very mysterious. Here's a look at the t-shirts. This jumper piece on the inside, with all these nice folds and creases, as you can see. It looks quite realistic. I also like the paint job. It's not just completely painted black. We have some highlights of grey, even blue, which looks really good. And here is the pistol, which is removable. You can take it out of his hand. Yeah, but it's quite nicely done, as you can see. It's got a very nice paint job. It almost looks as if it's made out of metal. And it's got a silencer right here, which of course is stuck onto the gun itself. But yeah, there's a look at the pistol. Pretty nice. And as for his other hand, it's just in an open pose, as you can see. And as for the legs, so yeah, once again, it's a pretty plain design. It's just these black trousers or pants, whatever you want to call them. But we have all of these folds, all the creases sculpted in there, which gives a nice sense of realism. It looks quite amazing. Down here we have the shoes, like these trainers. You can see all the laces sculpted in there. They look very tactical. And down here we have the display base with this Chris Redfield plaque, just to show his name. And we also have some type of emblem on the base. It looks like a wolf, which I guess has a pretty big part to play in the game itself, seeing as the theme is all about werewolves and vampires. So that is a look at the figure from the front. And as for the side of the figure, and we have a nice profile of the face. I mean, look at that sculpting. It looks really good. It's definitely got a pretty good likeness. Check out the hair sculpting from the side. Even the ear. I think he's got some type of object on the back of his ear. It looks like some type of earpiece. I really don't know. Once again, we have all these nice textures, all these rough details. And the hand holding the silenced pistol. Pretty cool. I even think it's got like some type of red dot sight like a laser, which is very fitting for his attire. And the legs, once again, the shoes. The other side of the figure is pretty much the exact same, but here's a quick look in case you guys want to check it out. So once again we have the face and this here jacket piece, like this long trench coat, whatever you want to call it. He really seems to be like a bad character in the game. I really don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. I've only played a couple hours into the game so far, so I really can't wait to play more. And as for the back, so here's the hairpiece. I just love that sculpting. It's very finely done. Back of the jacket piece. I mean, he's a pretty buff guy. He's pretty broad. You can even see muscle definition on the back, which is kind of crazy, like showing through the coat. Here's the back of the legs, all these nice folds, creasing in the trousers, and the back of the shoes. And he is held on by a couple pegs on the display base. Okay, and so here's a look at all the collector edition statues that came with the most recent Resident Evil games. So first up, we have the Jill Valentine from the Resident Evil 3 remake, which came out last year in 2020. Absolutely fantastic game, I really loved it a lot. Next up, we have the Leon S. Kennedy from the Resident Evil 2 remake, which came out in 2019. Such a good game. This is probably one of my all-time favorites Resident Evil games out there. And last up, of course, we have the Chris Redfields from Resident Evil Village. So let me just give you guys a quick look at all of these figures. So first up, we have the Jill Valentine. So yeah, it's a pretty nice piece. I do think the sculpting is good, but the main issue here is the paint job. I mean, it just doesn't have enough paint in the face, and the plastic really shines through, which I really don't think looks that great. So I think with a repaint, this statue could have looked so much better. We have the chest piece with this pretty iconic blue vest. And moving down here to the hand, holding the gun, which once again is removable. And she's wearing these jeans, like these pants, which are pretty realistic. You can see all the folds and creases sculpted in there. And here we have Leon S. Kennedy, which is my all-time favorite Resident Evil character. I just love this character so much. But anyhow, here's a look at the face. So I've got to say, out of all three statues, I think this one is probably the best. I think he's got the best likeness to the character from the game, and he's got the best sculpting. As you can see, he's got a very thick paint job, which I don't really think looks that great. I think the paint job is definitely the best on the Chris, but yeah, sculpting wise, it goes to Leon. But yeah, there's a look at the face with this gun and the flashlight in his hand. He's got all these pieces of equipment, like the body armor, the belt with the handcuffs, and the walkie-talkie. And moving down to the legs, the knee pads, the boots. And of course we have the newest release of Chris Redfield's. So as you guys seen, I mean, it is a pretty nice figure. I mean, now that I see the head sculpt in comparison to, say, the Jill or the Leon with the really thick paint job, yeah, he really looks amazing. He's definitely got the cleanest sculpt. It's a very fine sculpt indeed. So yeah, I'm just very happy with how it turned out. So that is a look at all the figures from the 3 Resident Evil Collector Editions. So yeah, I hope this comparison helps. If you guys are a big fan of Resident Evil, then I would highly recommend picking up this figure. I just don't see any reason why any fan of Resident Evil would not like this piece. But anyhow guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to ring that bell notification so you guys don't miss out on all these reviews. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy playing Resident Evil Village. Take care, stay safe, have a great day, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Alright, take it easy guys.